Alright, welcome to game number 2 of the FFA Elimination. This is Group D, the final of our 4 groups to be played. The final itself is on Saturday, but this particular round is between Philothanic Death Tacticus Tesseract and CNN Death Tacticus, taking the first round win. And alongside me for these games, in a figurative sense at least, is King Morgan. What are you seeing on this map? There's a really good scavenger to the south.
There is, but all the silicon seems to be up the northeast. Sorry,
Yeah.
northwest. All stuck up there. I mean, there's a couple of good founds. I don't think anybody's going to be in a massive rush, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see who founds where.
Yeah, electronics colony, so the silicon, completely irrelevant. And of course, glass will always be needed for upgrades, assuming everyone isn't a robot. Phil, in fact, it was Andreas who found it first, with no debt. Goes for that scavenger in the south. Phil with the robot in the north next to the silicon, so he sees that as the only patch of silicon that's really worth mentioning apart from this 2 tiles in the northwest, and takes that. DT instead going for the expansive in the southeast. Water's a little bit far away, but he's expansive, so he won't mind that too much. He's got those 2 geotherms as well, and he's claimed them both, so going to see some early power, I think, from Death Tacticus, although Phil, actually I'd missed the fact that Phil is a power robot, so he is going to be making some early money from that market.
Yeah, I mean, DT's going to crush the power market if you can get those 2 geotherms up and keep them defended. It's going to be interesting to see. Phil won his power robot, which, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see who wins the battle between solar and geos. I don't know.
Yeah.
Scavengers have both got a decent chance now if they pull themselves together. Although why Andreas is taking, that's got to be a wind turbine. That is a wind turbine. Phew.
Yeah, power's going to be saturated, I think, quite quickly, because DT has already built one of those geotherms, and I imagine that he will be building the second one at some point in fairly short order. There it goes. So he's going to have those 2 geotherms up really quickly. Not protected right now.
No, that's the risk you take. Although hopefully he should be able to get a goon squad on him, or at least one of them momentarily. But did he just take a fount? Yeah, an extra claim instead, I think.
Ah,
Fair enough.
let's have a look. Yeah, in fact he's bought 2 extra claims with his black market. So DT with the expansive for the extra claims and also the black market extra claims, going for something a little bit different this game. Going for the late game build.
Well, I think he's kind of identified that he's going to have to move into food, or it's going to have to be food he moves into when he upgrades, because that is going to absolutely kill the scavengers markets. I mean, he's already killing the power. Well,
I think
giving a boost, but $30 power.
Oh, this boost is far too little and far too late for Philothanic. He's going to be making just a very tiny amount of power money, but it's not going to be very much at all. It probably didn't cover the cost of the boost overall. The really effective boost here was Andreas, who has been making power money for a little while. He's not anymore because power's at $1. But even so, in Philothanic, completely flooding the power market. 16 a second with that boost. That is the definition of overkill.
Yeah, I think DT's possibly, if he can get upgraded, get some food down, I would say he's probably won the game. Everybody else just seems to be found. These scavengers, I thought they'd been up a bit quicker, but they've got some buildings up. I mean, hopefully we'll get a triangle of food out of Andreas. Tesseract's still waiting to upgrade. Death Tacticus just sitting there looking like a shark.
Yep, I think so. It's not very often you see power at $1 on the early part of day 2 or Sol 2.
Well, double geos and decent solar panels and solar flares.
Everyone committed at least 2 claims into power. Tesseract's 2 wind turbines, which I'd not seen at all, are looking particularly sad right now. He can't really do anything else with those tiles.
No, he's stuck there. He's going to find it difficult to upgrade, I would imagine.
Yeah. Phil at least using that boost for something. He's putting the electrolysis reactor down and is boosting that right now. So that's pretty profitable. That's a $200 tile right now for Phil. So he's making a little bit of money from that.
Yeah, too little too late, I think.
Yep,
Managed
very
to get his
possibly.
HQ3 upgrade, so
Yeah, and DT stalled out a little bit. He got the steel coming in. He's selling it all down right now. And did he? Oh dear, that was that Phil's power surge on DT? Not exactly sure. It got caught by the goon.
yeah, Andreas played the power surge and DT caught it and
Oh right, yeah, there we go. So the food battle is certainly going to be won by DT with that power surge.
poor little triangle of food shut down.
Yep, that's not going to make money for a long time.
DT's very well positioned, he's got his glass, just waiting for his steel to come in, and then that's HQ4 for him.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's an expansive player that bought 2 claims at HQ2 and has more cash and is ahead in upgrades than everyone else in the game. So,
Well, I'm surprised there wasn't a power surge on his double GOs.
yeah, I mean, we could have seen that. And to be honest, it wasn't really even the Geos that did it. Like, the Geos were kind of a little bit superfluous to all of the power situation that was happening. There were big commitments into power from basically all of our players, which meant that the double Geo wasn't quite so effective. But even so, just all of these claims that he has, he's HQ4 now. Another claim goes on the black market. Did that go to DT as well? It did. So, yeah, a whole bunch of claims. He's got those 3 from the black market. He's got a bunch from being expansive. He's also an HQ ahead of everyone. He gets his steel shut down, but how much is that really going to hurt him? Not a whole
great
lot.
deal.
Yeah.
It's going to be a slight inconvenience, but nobody bid in for the claim as yet. Somebody wants it, surely.
I would imagine that somebody wants it. There we go. The bidding war begins.
Yeah, Andreas really looking like DT's only competition at the moment.
Yeah, and even Andreas, I mean, he's got 7k in cash. He's quite close to the upgrade just because his carbon is all in. But he's suffering from the no cash scavenger problem, and he just bought a hologram as well, which isn't going to help matters. He's got the glass to buy up for his upgrade. It's going to cost him 10,000, and right now he doesn't really have the means to make 10,000, at least not quickly.
No, that's right. The scavenger's quite easy to stall out. His buildings aren't, well, he's Tesseract especially because he's not got triangles. Very difficult for him to be massively profitable and just get over the hump.
Yeah. One good thing about this low power situation for Philothanic at least is that he can ship whatever he likes across the map at absolutely no cost, other than the time it takes for stuff to get there. So he's got 2 very remote water claims. He's got the very remote iron claim as well.
Yeah, he's not doing too badly though, he's recovered quite well. But yeah, it's a real pain. His power robot didn't pay off very well.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably reasonably well positioned in this game, just because that power situation is very likely to stick because of the overcommitment into wind turbines from our players and the double Geo from DT. DT going into a pleasure dome. Tesseract going into a pattern lab though. I wonder what we're going to see from him. He's certainly behind everyone else in this game right now.
Not sure if Patent's going to bring him back into it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, the on-world market's just been saturated. And it's going to continue to be saturated. I mean, I don't know, if DT could get his hands on some silicon, I'm sure he'd crash the price of everything else as well.
Yeah, I mean, glass is looking like a reasonably attractive market. Phil's going to be the only one really to move into that. Tesseract deciding that they are going to go for the silicon as well. But that is a large amount of shipping time and distance that they are eating with that.
Yeah, just for a single silicon as well. I mean, you've got to question if it's worth it or not.
Yeah, he's starting to get it in now though, so maybe it is. Maybe going into that glass market, and that's what Tesseract's doing. Deciding to get some of those profits. It is certainly, I think, if not the most profitable thing to make right now, certainly one of them.
It definitely looks that way. I mean, for Unworld, there's not a great dealer choice, unfortunately.
DT deciding that because on-world prices are so low, he's in a pleasure dome, and his first patent is going to be virtual reality, which makes a lot of sense. Again, just amassing those late-game advantages.
That's going to be a nice little pleasure dome once you get virtual reality on.
159 right now, so plus 50% on that. 230 or so.
Yeah, I would imagine that we'll see DT start to think about moving off-world. It's got to be on his mind, building off-worlds.
Yeah, I mean, they're not amazingly good, but just because on-world prices are so low, it magnifies or it amplifies the value of this this food launch that's 39k quite a lot, just because it is so much more than anything else you can make.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a problem because Life of Vault's pretty much the only market, that and steel, that he can be in, because there's hardly any access to silicon, unless somebody can get their hands on slant drilling, which Tesseracts really should think about doing. At least then he could get into silicon markets.
Yeah, I mean, it's the aluminium tile that he took, which is now a solar panel, could then be an elemental quarry, so that could be something. I have to say though, I think Philothanic's sticking in this game pretty well. He is only a robot rather than an expansive player, and he doesn't really have those advantages of the claims, and he's not getting any patents either, but he does have a comparable amount of cash and a pleasure dome that has unfortunately just been frozen.
Yeah, he's well positioned, but he's going to need a lot of steel if he wants to move off-world. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get that in a hurry. He'll have to get another iron claim, probably.
DT actually boosting his pleasure dome. So that pleasure dome's making 516 a second now, which is a ludicrous amount of money.
That's, yeah, that's fantastic. And then, was that another? He's picked up another adrenaline boost as well, so I imagine we'll see that boosted for a fair few minutes. Nice income for him, though.
Yeah.
He's got the upgrade if he wants to HQ5.
Yeah, he's holding on to it for the time being. I wonder if he's seeing if he could be opportunistic for Philothanic. I guess he realizes Philothanic is his main competition. He also picks up Thinking Machines, by the way, which is pretty big given the on-world prices are so low, and off-world is really going to be where it's at. But I wonder if he's thinking that maybe he can pick Philothanic off if he goes for a slightly greedy upgrade with that large stockpile of cash that he has.
Yeah, it's definitely an option that he could use. I mean, there's no huge rush for him to move into HQ5 because he's kind of limited in what he can produce. He might as well just sit there and stockpile some steel, stockpile some cash, see if he can pick somebody off.
Yeah, that is true. He doesn't have a huge amount of stuff next to him, or certainly a huge amount of new stuff that he can go into. So there is limited value to those claims.
Well, Philothantic's just mutinied his patent lab, so Philothantic wants carbon scrubbing, so DT's going to have to wait a little bit for slant. But if somebody can steal slant in the meantime, then it's going to be hard for DT to have any kind of access to silicon. I mean,
Yeah.
there is a possibility if somebody gets slant, they can tap off Philothantic's high silicon, but it's just that one spot that you could have. So it's kind of important to get slant drilling to DT, I would say. Especially
Yeah.
electronics. Glass isn't too bad. Buy the glass if you need it works. I mean, an off-world is 60k for DT, and 30k of that's electronics.
Oh, another mutiny on the pleasure dome for DT. As Andreas upgrades to HQ5, was able to do that safely, and that's the catalyst, I think, for DT to hit the upgrade button himself. Straight in with the hologram is Andreas. Actually, who was? Yeah, that was Andreas. Buying the hologram.
Yes.
DT has one stored up as well, and yeah, I imagine that the off-world is the thing that he's going to be thinking about here. Does have that thinking machine, so it's pretty easy to build one and protect it, at least in the short term. There are goon poppers, but again, when your opponent has thinking machines, you're not really inclined to spend all of those cooldowns trying to get through all those goons.
No, exactly. Think machines can easily make the difference.
Phil still not upgrading. I wonder what he's waiting for. I guess he does need still to secure his own stock before he does that. Not in steel right now either. Just getting the very, very long distance iron in. And power's not at 0 anymore, so that's costing him at least some money, if not a whole lot.
Yeah, Phil's going to have to be a little bit
Oh,
careful.
DT and Tesseract. And this is certainly the first kill of the game. Philothanic joining. I imagine that Phil went for it just because he realized exactly what was about to happen and was just like, I want some cheap stock before the majority buy is completed.
Everybody trying to get on board the Tesseract train, it seems.
Yep, only HQ4, but he's going to be making some money. And yeah, that stock is pretty much evenly split between everyone, which is bad news for DT in the sense that everyone else's stock price is going to go up, but good news for DT in the sense that everyone else also spent a bunch of money on it.
Yep. Yes, not wrong there. Everybody's a little bit afraid. They want it to be even. They don't want any clear winner or clear leader to emerge, I think. It's quite sensible.
Yeah. So Phil finally hits that upgrade button, but he's quite considerably behind, not really with too much ability to make steel. He's got that one high iron tile and he's going to build those 2 steel mills that are going to be boosted by the solar panels. So that's something at least.
He's got quite a hill to climb though if he wants to get into any kind of off-worlds. It's going to cost a lot of steel, and electronics isn't cheap, although he is making electronics. So.
Yeah, I mean, off-worlds aren't prohibitively expensive, but again, on-world prices are low enough that it really does make it important that you're in that off-world quite quickly. I wonder if DT... I mean, I find it strange that he's not built an off-world yet. I guess he thinks he can finish the game without one, and he is now going into Philothanic, so again, if he gets this, then you don't see Andreas putting up too much resistance against the DT freight train that is rolling through this game right now.
No, it's going to be very difficult indeed if he does pick Philothanic up, which it looks likely that he will.
Yeah, Phil needs a lot of money to defend himself, at least 50k at this point. DT probably a similar, well, not quite a similar amount, about 40k away from the actual buy in terms of the amount of cash he needs.
I mean, DT could even sell a share down if he wanted to, I think. In his share price of $41,
yeah, he's
a good 35 at least.
He's totally safe to do that. Doesn't particularly see the need to do that. And instead, DT is just going to wait for the 100%, which is going to be really, really soon.
It's showing for mine.
Yes, it's showing because Andreas has the money, but DT now has it. And is just going to be able to hit that button whenever he can. There it is.
Okay, that was a nice little pickup.
So while all that was happening, Andreas in an off-world.
Well, fingers crossed.
I think it's going to be another short stream, folks. I'm sorry. It's this tournament has been full of short streams, short series, 2-game series all round. I think we're going to see another one.
Possibly, although Andreas can get another offer, then...
Yeah, and he's not far away from doing that. In fact, he probably has the money to do that right now, with all of that steel that he has.
Yeah, so he only needs 28k for some electronics, but DT's got a spy down, so he knows exactly what's going on.
Yep, he knows what's up. He saw that electronics factory being built, puts a spy down, and can work on that off-world very, very quickly indeed. There are mutinies available and network viruses, so it'll be pretty simple for DT. If there is a goon, he will network virus. If there's not a goon, he will mutiny.
Yeah, nice and simple, but the price of gains keep racking up. I mean, Andreas should hopefully be able to fight him off if he needed to.
Well, Andreas's defense against a single player using the black market against his off-world is just to build another off-world. He's got a second one down, and I don't think DT has this one spied out. Although again, there's a very suspicious electronics factory. There's a mutiny, a goon on it as well. Oh, Andreas.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. There it is, the mutiny goon. Andreas not defending himself. GG. 2-game series, folks.
Well, not unexpected, but well played.
Yeah, very well played. I mean, yeah, that was DT showing his class. Very, very good player, and no disgrace at all on the other players that they were so roundly beaten by a player of DT's caliber. And he just showed why there, seeing the environment and using whatever tools he needed to get exactly what he wanted in the first game. It was a robot without water, so he exploited that iron and steel market for all it was worth, got an advantage that way, and got some majority buys. And in the second game, went for the late game expansive, got the early claims, and used that to get himself a major advantage. And again, all of the majority buys, and a Sol 7 win.
Yeah, comprehensive win there. Really leveraged the power of expansive against the other players, but they're just too slow. You'd expect it. You never think that a expansive would beat scavengers to upgrades, and even the robots. Unfortunately, Phil got himself out of the run-in when his power robots starts went slightly awry. Nice comeback.
Yeah.
Tesseract just never really challenged. Andreas was doing reasonably well, but just they could never make the money. On-world prices were just too low, really.
Yeah, and it was really like I'm struggling to work out how DT actually managed to do this. He was just scarily efficient with those early claims and with the found, because he got he wasn't only an expansive player who bought 2 claims on the market at HQ2 or HQ1. He also built 2 geos in with that. And geos are really expensive. Even for an expensive player, they're expensive. They're 60 steel, 40 aluminium. It's a lot of resources you have to put into that in the early game. And even with that, even with being an expansive player, even with building those 2 geos and buying those claims, he was able to beat everyone to upgrades. It's very impressive.
Yeah, well, they're powerful double geos. DT, let's see now. He only sold 40k. Well, that can't be right.
Only sold 40k of what, power?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it was so cheap.
Wow.
So look at the price of power the whole game. It's going to be basically a flat line at the bottom of the graph for half of it. And then like the highest it was in the whole game was a few seconds after everyone found it and upgraded to HQ2, because it started at 80, it climbed to about 83, and then Phil started producing power and it crashed. And that was the highest it was for the whole game. Even at Sol 6, Sol 7, there was a spike during the night. But again, that was the spike was only reaching $50 or whatever, and it crashed during the daytime again. So, such cheap power. And the winner of the game is an expansive player that went straight into a double geo at HQ2. Like, I don't know. That's...
That paid off, didn't it?
Yeah.
I would never have remained like that if not for the double geos. It's a good move in a way, because it then wipes out any chance of anybody else doing a power play.
Yeah, it does.
You need to, I think, in an expansive, against an expansive with a scavenger or a robot, you need to make some kind of power play, don't you, just to get you over the hump. HQ3, HQ2 maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the reason it crashed so much was because everyone else also went into power, which also slowed them down, and because... Well, I think Phil was really first into the market. I don't think DT made very much at all from the initial double geo play. But the fact that everyone else spent so many resources and so many claims on that remote power as well, with the exception of Philothanic, I think was quite noticeable. Something else that was quite noticeable, looking at the late game or the end game screens, which Jim Bob had also pointed out in chat, is that 22 black market effects or purchases from Death Tacticus. That's basically twice as many as anyone else in the game, and he was an expansive player against 2 scavengers. So I think that tells a story.
Yeah, not utilising cooldowns properly.